Once upon a time, in a very far away village, lived a rich, famous, and influential king. He was known for his mighty war strength and was also known as the only king who has defeated two lions ever in the history of the village with just his bare hands. The king was also known for conquering several villages. It was rumored that his back never touches the ground. The king lived in his beautiful palace with his wife and his beautiful daughter called Nkoroma. Apart from being wealthy and mighty, the king was also known for his greedy and boisterous attitude.
My daughter is the most beautiful girl in the village.
The king will be heard boasting.
Long live the king.
His cabinet members will often reply. Nkrumah grew up with so much likeness and admiration. She had everything she ever needed, and the king never fails to behead any servant who fails in his duty to Nkrumah. The king appointed so many servants to administer to Nkrumah. When she sneezes, a servant is there to say sorry. When she wants to wear her clothes, a servant is there to wear it for her. Nkrumah became very rude and boastful like her father, the king, and she often looked down on other girls in the village. Whenever Nkrumah is walking along the village with her servants, all the breeze stands still, and everyone who sees her runs to hide, because nobody can behold the sight of her, as it was rumored that anyone who comes in contact with her is immediately beheaded. As days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, and months turned into years, Nkrumah grew to become a very beautiful young lady, and soon it was time for the king to find her a suitor.
Go call all the elders and kinsmen. Tell them to come immediately for an important meeting,
Ordered the king to his servants. Immediately, the town crier woke up early in the morning and began to announce, "Gongong, gongong, gongong, gongong."
all the elders and other titled men. The king needs your presence in the palace tomorrow morning.
The servant's voice ran across every home in the village. Not long after, the said day came, and all the cabinet members and the red-cap chiefs were gathered in the king's palace to hear what the king has to say.
Long live the king, the elders greeted. My kinsmen, I have decided that it is time for my daughter to get married. And this is the condition. Any man who defeats Ikenga, the greatest warrior in the village, and also defeats all the men, will marry my daughter.
After the meeting, the town crier was ordered to distribute the information to everyone. Early in the morning, the town crier announced,
The people of Abalanze, the king has asked all the eligible men in the village to come out to contest for the king's daughter's hand in marriage. Anyone who defeats Ikenga, the greatest warrior, and 5 other men will go home with the king's daughter.
1 week later, the said day finally arrived. All the youths, women, and eligible suitors gathered in the village square. Old women and young girls came to cheer up the warriors. People came from far away villages to witness the event, as Ikenga was known as one of the greatest warrior ever in the history of Agbalanze village, and his back has never touched the ground. In fact, Ikenga was referred to as the cat. Immediately the contest began. The warriors battled tirelessly to have the king's daughter's hand. But Ikenga, the greatest warrior, defeated all the men. The villagers were already getting worried. Then, all of a sudden, a young man sprang up from the crowd.
I will challenge Ikenga, and I will defeat him.
The crowd was once again filled with joy and cheerfulness. Dike was known as the greatest farmer and the most respectful young man in the village, from a very humble background. So when Dike entered the competition ground, everyone was happy for him, but though they worried, how can a farmer defeat a warrior? They were happy and as well worried for him. But all of a sudden, Dike disappointed them. He immediately lifted Ikenga up and threw him heavily on the ground. Everybody was shocked because nobody has ever defeated Ikenga ever in the history of Agbalanze village. He fought like a wounded lion and defeated 5 other of his contestants. The crowd cheered joyfully, but all of a sudden the king stood up and hushed everyone to keep quiet. The king's countenance was filled with anger and sadness. Everyone worried why the king, instead of being happy, was looking displeased. Everyone expected the king to make a royal decree of handing his daughter's hand in marriage to Dike. But the king started stammering.
Dike, you have done so well. Who are your parents?
Ezudo's family, Dike replied.
How many lands do you have? 2 plots of land given to me by my late father, your highness.
The king thought to himself.
How can I give my daughter to such a poor man? No, he is too poor. I want a rich son-in-law.
Then the king said to Dike,
I will give you another plot of land for your victory, but you cannot marry my daughter.
Everyone was shocked because never has it been heard ever in the history of Agbalanze that the king took back his word. The king thought to himself,
I must set a new target. My people, I have thought about the contest. I do not want my daughter to marry this way. Now I am making a new decree. Any young man who can bring me a live elephant will immediately be chosen as my son-in-law.
He thought to himself,
Any man who is bold enough to bring a live elephant must be rich and strong.
So the king swore by the royal decree. Everyone was worried, but who can bring a live elephant to the king?